Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So in this video I am going to explain you about how to analyze the truss by using consistent deformation method. So as you can see the truss here, so the question is analyze the truss as shown by consistent deformation method. The member BE is initially short by 0.12 centimeters. So this member is initially short by 0.12 centimeters. So it is asked to determine the forces in all the members. So there are two cases in it: before application of external loads and after application of external loads, with and without lack of it. So area is taken as 10 square centimeters and Young's modulus is taken as 2 into 10 power 4 kilonewton per square meter. So I will start the solution now. So the first step is to check the static indeterminacy. The formula is m plus r minus 2j. So there are total 8 members and there are total 3 external reactions and 5 joints. So if you want, you can count the total members. So the external reactions are here 2 reactions, hinge support and the roller support offers 1 reaction, 2 plus 1 3. So there are 5 joints total. So after calculation, SI value is obtained as 1. So next we should calculate the external indeterminacy. External indeterminacy is equal to R minus number of equilibrium equations. So R is the number of external reactions. There are 3 external reactions and 3 equilibrium equations. So external indeterminacy is 0. So the next one is to calculate the internal indeterminacy. The formula is total SI minus external indeterminacy. So total SI is obtained as 1 and external indeterminacy as 0. So internal indeterminacy is 1. So the truss is internally indeterminate by 1 degree. So that is what I have written here. So choose any member as redundant. So in this case I am choosing member BE. So the member BE is initially short by 0.12 centimeter. I am also taking the same member as redundant. Choose BE as redundant. Now remove the member BE from the truss and again redraw the same truss. After removing the member BE from the given truss, so I have redrawn the same truss as shown here. So the next step is to calculate the support reactions. So support reactions. So applying first equilibrium equation sigma V equal to 0. Here there is a hinged support. Let the vertical reaction be VA and vertical reaction at D be VD. So VA plus VD equal to 0. So since there are no vertical loads, there is only one horizontal load. VA plus VD equal to 0. Now again applying sigma m equal to 0, I am taking moment about point A. So if I take moment about point A, this reaction VD is producing anti-clockwise direction. I am taking anti-clockwise as positive and this is the perpendicular distance. This is 2.5 meters. So therefore perpendicular distance is 5 meters. Okay. Now this 100 kilonewton is rotating the truss in clockwise direction. So clockwise negative 100 into this perpendicular distance is 2.5 equal to 0. So I got vertical reaction at D as 50 kilonewton. So this is upward. Now I am substituting this 50 kilonewton in this equation. Then I got VA equal to minus 50 kilonewton. So that means it is indicating the downward reaction. So this is not upward, it is downward. So this is downward 50 kilonewton and this is upward 50 kilonewton. So I have calculated the support reactions and the next step is to calculate the P0 forces. So from this diagram we should calculate the P0 forces in all the members. So first I am taking joint D. So I am taking joint D. So please don't take the joint A because we are having two equilibrium equations in this truss. So we are applying two equations at one joint. So at one joint if we apply two equations, there are three unknown forces. So there are three members in at this joint. We have only two equations, so we cannot find out the unknown forces. So I am starting at joint D. If I take joint E and I will apply sigma V equal to 0, this 50 kilonewton is going upward direction, so plus 50, and I am assuming the force in member CD in downward direction, let it be PCD. So I am not writing there. So since it is moving in downward direction, I am writing minus PCD, and I will resolve this PCD in vertical direction. So this, let it be angle theta, and if I resolve in vertical direction, it will be sin theta. So equal to 0. 50 minus PCD into sin theta is opposite side, that is 2.5 divided by the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is calculated by square root of 2.5 square plus 2.5 square. So if you want, you can pre-calculate this one. So it will be equal to 0. So from this I have calculated PCD value as 50 root 2 kilonewton. So 50 root 2 kilonewton. So this arrow is towards the joint, it is compressing the joint, so therefore it will be in the compression. 50 root 2 in compression, and this is the compressive force representation. So initially calculate the value of sin theta and cos theta. We will obtain sin theta as 1 by root 2 and 1 by root 2. Okay. Now I will apply sigma h equal to 0 at the same joint. If I apply sigma h, then there is member DE, and I have to resolve this PCD in horizontal direction. So if I resolve this one, this arrow is moving in right side direction, so therefore I will get plus value, and 50 root 2 is the magnitude in that member, magnitude of force in that member. And after resolving, the horizontal component will be cos theta. Cos theta is nothing but again 1 by root 2. And I will assume, since this is towards the joint, I am assuming this force as away from the joint. So it is in left side direction, so it is negative. P DE equal to 0. So from this, P DE equal to 50 kilonewton. So it is, since it is away from the joint, it is in tension. So this is 50 kilonewton. So I have explained by taking one joint as an example. Similarly, you take C joint and E joint and B joint and calculate the remaining forces. These are the forces I have obtained after resolving each member at each joint. So I have explained you joint D. Similarly, perform the same analysis at joint E and C. Then place all the values in this diagram. This diagram is known as P0 diagram. Now the fourth step is to calculate the P1 forces. That means we have taken member BE as redundant. Now on the member BE, we have to apply unit load, unit tensile force. So on the member BE, we have to apply the unit load. So that is what I have written here. Apply 1 kilonewton on member BE. So we have to draw another diagram. So I have drawn the same truss by removing all the external loads. So now I will apply on the member BE, I will apply 1 kilonewton tensile force. Now I will analyze, that means I will find out the forces in all the members. So since there are no external loads, the reactions will be equal to 0. So now in the third step, we have performed the method of joints and we have calculated the forces in all the members. In the similar manner, starting from joint D, go to each joint, resolve the members in vertical and horizontal direction and find out the values. So after analyzing at each joint, these are the forces I have obtained. This diagram is known as P1 diagram. If you want to calculate these values, then start from joint D. So start from joint D, resolve this force in horizontal and vertical components and find out the forces in these two members. So after joint D, take joint C. Again resolve these two members in vertical direction and find out the force in member CE. And again resolve these two members in horizontal direction and find out the force in BC. So in the similar manner, take joint E and B and A. So you will get these forces. So I'm not going to explain those calculations in this video, because I have explained how to calculate the member forces by using method of joints in my previous videos. So again, I am not going to explain in this video because the video length is increasing. Okay, so these are the forces which I have obtained after performing the analysis. So after calculation of P1 forces, the last step is to calculate the final forces. We have to calculate the final forces. In the question, it is asked to find out the forces before application of external loads and after application of external loads. First we will see the first one, before application of external loads. So first we will calculate the forces which are before application of external loads. So in the given question there is only one external load. So this external load is removed and we will calculate the forces in all the members. So for calculation of the final forces, we have to draw one table. Now this is the format of the table we have to draw, and I have placed all the members in this column. So in this member column I have placed all the members, and the member which I have taken redundant is placed at last. So length, L means length. So here the length will be written in centimeters because the area is given in square centimeters. So in the question the length is given in meters, so we have to convert that one into centimeters. So 1 meter equal to 100 centimeters. So length of member BC, length of member AE, length of member ED. So similarly place all the lengths in this column. So I have placed all the lengths of each member, and now I will place all the areas from the given question in this column. So the area is given as 10 square centimeter for all the members. So all the members, the area will be 10 square centimeters. Now after writing areas, now we have to write the P0 values. So since we are analyzing before application of external loads, so the P0 analysis is completely based on the external loads. So now we are not applying external loads. So we are calculating before application of external loads. Therefore P0 value for all the members will be 0. So P0 value for all the members is 0, and P1 values. So this P1 value for each member. So for example, P1 force for member BC is obtained from the P1 diagram. So you can see here, this is the P1 diagram, and the P1 force for the member BC is 1 by root 2. Since it is in compression, we will write minus 1 by root 2, that means minus 0.707. 1 by root 2 value is 0.707. Similarly, I will place for all the members in this column. So the P1 force in the member AE, P1 force in the member ED. Similarly, fill all these columns. So now I have written all the P1 forces for each member from the P1 diagram. Now P0 into P1 into L by A. So we are multiplying with P0. Here P0 value is for all the members is 0. So the whole column is 0. For all the members it will be 0. Now P1 square into L by A. So square of this value into length by area. So I have calculated all the values. This is 35.35. Okay. Now we have to calculate the final forces. Before calculating the final forces, we have to add all these values and all these values. So the summation of this whole column is 0 and this whole column is 120.70. So after calculation of these values, since we are solving this problem by using method of consistent deformation, we have to write the compatibility equation. The compatibility equation is delta 10 plus delta 11 into R1 equal to that particular given lac of fit. In this question it is given as 0.12 centimeters. So now we have to place the delta 10 and delta 11 values. We know delta equal to PL by AE. So the PL by A value is obtained. These values are PL by A values. So additionally we have to multiply with 1 by E. So delta 10 means this value 0 plus delta 11 means P square L by A. So 120.70. This is the PL by A value. So now we have to multiply with Young's modulus. So by E equal to 0.12. So multiplied by R1. I have forgotten to multiply with R1. Now R1 into 120.70. In the question itself it is given as 2 into 10 power 4 for value of E 0.12. Therefore R1 is obtained as 19.88 kilonewton. So this is the value of R1. Now place this 19.88 kilonewton in this formula. Okay, now this formula P0 value for BC member is 0. I am calculating the final force by using this formula. So P equal to P0 value for BC is 0, again plus P1 value is minus 0.707 into R1. This is 19.88. The value is minus 14.05. Again for member AE, P0 value is 0 and again P1 value is minus 0.707 and R1 value is, here we have calculated 19.88. Again the same value minus 14.05. So in the similar manner calculate all the values in this column. So I have calculated all the final forces for all the members. So with these calculations we have completed the first question. So in this we have answered the first question. Now we have to calculate the final forces for the external loads after applying the external loads. So I have drawn the table here. So now the after application of external loads. So now the external loads are applied and we have to analyze the forces in each member. This is the format of the table. So in the question it is asked that after application of loads with and without lack of it. So we have to calculate first without lack of it and next with lack of it. Okay, so I have divided final forces in two types. So this is without lack of it and this is with lack of it. So now I have drawn the same table which I have drawn in the first question. So as you can see here, this is the table which we have drawn for the first question. So this is the table which I have drawn for the second question. The table format is almost same, but for the calculation of final forces, here I have indicated two final forces, without lack of it and with lack of it. So now what I will do is that, so again same members I have written here, same lengths and same areas are written here. These values are obtained from the question. So since this is before application of external loads, there won't be any P0 forces, but now there are external loads and there are P0 forces. So these P0 values are obtained from P0 diagram. So this is the P0 diagram and P0 value for BC is minus 100. We have to place each value in this column. P0 value for AE is 50 kilonewton tension. The minus is because of compression. ED member, that means this member. For ED member it is 50 kilonewton tension. Similarly place all the values from this diagram. Now write the P1 forces for each member by seeing the P1 diagram. So this we have written already in the first question. So place these values in this column. So I have placed all the P1 values here in the P1 values. So this is the first question and I am answering for second question. The P1 values remain same. Now we have to calculate these values, P0 into P1 into length by area. So P0 means minus 100 into minus 0.707 into length means 250 by 10. The value is 1767.5. Again P0 into 50 into minus 0.707 into 250 by 10. The value is minus 83.75. Similarly calculate all the values. Now calculate P1 square into L by A. P1 square means minus 0.707 into minus 0.707 whole square into 250 by 10. The value is 12.5. Again minus 0.707 into 250 by 10. Again 12.5. Similarly calculate all the values. Now after filling these values, add all these values. The value is 3383.37. Now similarly add all these values. Again it is coming as 120.70. So add all these values, you will get 120.70. Now again write the compatibility equation here. So delta 10 plus delta 11 into r1 dash equal to 0. So here r1 dash means, so without lack of fit I am calculating the value of r1. So whatever the value I have obtained as r1, I will place in this formula. Then the forces thus obtained are due to the external loads but not due to the lack of fit. So I am analyzing the truss without lack of fit and with lack of fit separately. Okay, so this is without lack of fit. I am not considering lack of fit. There is no lack of fit. So without considering lack of fit, now I am going to find out the value of r redundant. So this value I am taking as r1 dash. Okay, now delta 10, that means PL by AE. So this value 3383.37 divided by E plus delta 11, that means this value 120.70 into r1 by E equal to 0. So I am taking 1 by E common, it will be finally equal to 0. Now on solving this I got r1 dash as minus 28.03 kilonewton. So r1 dash is minus 28.03 kilonewton. This is only for without lack of fit. I am not considering lack of fit. I will consider it later. So I will analyze without lack of fit. Now place this r1 dash value in this formula. So p0 value is minus 100 plus p1 value is minus 0.707 and r1 dash value is obtained here as minus 28.03 kilonewton. So substitute all these values in this formula. You will get minus 80.18 kilonewton. So similarly place the p0 value of AE, that means 50 kilonewton, plus p1 value is minus 0.707 into r1 dash is minus 28.03. So I have obtained the value as 69.82. So we have to place p0, p1 and r1 dash values in this formula and calculate the final force. Similarly calculate all the forces. So I have calculated all the forces in each member. So these forces are due to the external loads, not due to the lack of fit. Now I will consider the lack of fit and I will calculate the forces. Now I am considering with lack of fit. Now if I consider with lack of fit, let the redundant be r double dash. So in order to obtain this value, I have to add r1 plus r1 dash. So r value is obtained from the first question. We got it as 19.88 kilonewton. So in order to calculate all these forces, we need r1 double dash. Okay, so the formula for calculation of r1 double dash is r1 plus r1 double dash. So r1 is obtained from the first question. So we have already calculated the r1 dash. This is 19.88 kilonewton. So I will place 19.88 kilonewton plus r1 dash we have just calculated now minus 28.03. Now the value of r double dash is calculated as minus 8.15 kilonewton. So we have obtained the value of r double dash. So remember one thing, r1 double dash is for lack of fit. So in order to obtain this value, we are adding the r1 value and r1 dash value. Now place this r1 double dash value in this equation and find out the forces. So similarly the p0 value for member BC is minus 100 plus p1 into r1 dash, that means minus 707 into r1 double dash means minus 8.15 kilonewton. I got it as 94.23. Now again P naught for this value is 50 plus P1 into R1 double dash. P1 is minus 0.707 and R1 double dash is minus 8.15. The value is 55.76. So similarly calculate all the values by placing P0, P1 and R1 double dash. So I have calculated all the values for all the members. I have obtained as 50.06, 5.76, 5.76, 62.671, minus 70.71 and minus 8.15. So these forces are without lack of it and these forces are with lack of it, and these forces are before the loads are applied. So this is the procedure for analyzing the given truss by using the consistent deformation method. So one more thing is that we cannot analyze the truss consisting of lack of fit and temperature effect by using the Castigliano's method. We have to use the consistent deformation method for solving such type of problems. Okay, thank you.